Hello there and welcome. It is so good to have you here right now, in this calm and quiet space. Maybe you are lying in bed, ready to rest. Maybe you're sitting somewhere comfortable, just wanting your mind to slow down a little. Whatever brought you here tonight, I am glad you came. This is a place where you can let go of the day. You do not need to think too hard or remember anything important. You can just listen and let your thoughts wander wherever they want to go. Tonight we are going to talk about animals. Not just any animals, but all kinds of creatures that live on this planet with us. Some of them are huge, bigger than houses. Some are so tiny you could hold 100 of them in your hand. Some live deep under the ocean where no light ever reaches. Others fly high above the clouds, seeing the world from places we can only imagine. There are animals that have been here for millions of years, long before humans ever walked the earth. And there are animals we are still discovering, hidden in forests and caves and oceans we have not fully explored yet. Animals are everywhere. They crawl through the soil beneath our feet. They swim in rivers and lakes and seas. They run across deserts and climb up mountains. They build homes in trees, in the ground, under rocks, and even inside other animals. Every single one of them has a story. Now, let your body relax. Let your breathing slow down. Let the world outside fade away for a while. We're going to drift through the animal kingdom together, one fact at a time, one breath at a time. And who knows? Maybe you will stay awake for all 100 facts, or maybe you will fall asleep somewhere along the way, and that is perfectly fine too. Either way, you're exactly where you need to be. Let us begin. Fact 1. There are more than 8 million different species of animals living on Earth right now, and scientists believe we have only discovered about 1 million of them. That means there are still around 7 million species out there waiting to be found. Some live in places so remote that humans have never set foot there. Others are so small or so good at hiding that we walk past them every single day without knowing they exist. Imagine all the creatures swimming in the deepest parts of the ocean, or buried in the soil of rainforests we have never explored. Each one has its own way of living, its own design, its own purpose. The world is full of life we cannot even see yet, and that is a beautiful mystery. Every year, researchers discover new species that challenge what we thought we knew about life on Earth. Some of these discoveries happen in the most unexpected places, reminding us that wonder exists everywhere if we look closely enough. Fact 2. The blue whale is the largest animal that has ever lived on this planet. It is even bigger than the biggest dinosaurs that ever walked the Earth. A blue whale can grow up to 100 feet long, which is about as long as 3 school buses parked, end to end. Its heart alone is the size of a small car, and its tongue weighs as much as an elephant. When a blue whale swims through the ocean, it moves with a grace that seems impossible for something so enormous. And yet, despite being the largest creature on Earth, it eats some of the smallest. Blue whales feed on tiny shrimp-like animals called krill, swallowing millions of them every single day. There is something almost magical about that, about the biggest animal in the world surviving on some of the tiniest. A blue whale calf drinks about 100 gallons of milk every day and gains around 200 pounds daily during its first year of life. These gentle giants can live for more than 80 years, travelling thousands of miles across the oceans. Fact 3. Hummingbirds are among the smallest birds in the world, and some species weigh less than a penny. Their wings beat so fast that they create a humming sound, which is how they got their name. A hummingbird's wings can flap up to 80 times per second, moving so quickly that they become invisible to the human eye. This allows them to hover in place, fly backwards, and even fly upside down for short moments. To keep up with all their energy, hummingbirds have to eat constantly. They visit hundreds of flowers every single day, drinking nectar and eating tiny insects. Their hearts beat more than 1,000 times per minute when they're flying. Watching a hummingbird is like watching a little jewel come to life, darting through the air with speed and colour that seem almost unreal. During migration, some hummingbirds fly non-stop across the Gulf of Mexico, a journey of more than 500 miles that takes nearly 20 hours without rest. Their metabolism is so fast that if they do not eat for a few hours, they can starve. Fact 4. Elephants are some of the most intelligent animals on the planet. They have incredible memories and can remember other elephants they met decades ago, even if they only spent a short time together. When an elephant dies, other elephants in the herd will often stop and touch the body gently with their trunks, as if saying goodbye. They have been seen returning to the bones of dead elephants years later, running their trunks over the remains in what looks like mourning. Elephants also communicate with each other using sounds so low that humans cannot hear them. These infrasonic calls can travel for miles through the ground, allowing elephants to stay connected even when they are far apart. They live in close family groups led by the oldest female, and they care deeply for each other. Elephants show empathy, helping injured members of their herd and even assisting other species in distress. Their trunks contain more than 40,000 muscles, making them incredibly flexible and strong. An elephant can use its trunk to pick up something as small as a single blade of grass or as heavy as a fallen tree. Fact 5. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 of their hearts pump blood to their gills, while the third pumps blood to the rest of their body. Their blood is blue because it contains a copper-based molecule called hemocyanin, which is better at carrying oxygen in cold, low-oxygen environments than the iron-based hemoglobin that makes our blood red. Octopuses are also incredibly intelligent. They can solve puzzles, open jars, and even recognize individual human faces. They can change the colour and texture of their skin in less than a second, blending perfectly into their surroundings to hide from predators or sneak up on prey. Each of their 8 arms has a mind of its own, controlled by a separate cluster of neurons. An octopus can taste with its arms, feeling and tasting everything it touches. Some species of octopuses can squeeze through openings as small as a coin because they have no bones. They are escape artists, known for getting out of aquarium tanks by unscrewing lids or squeezing through tiny gaps. Despite their intelligence, octopuses live very short lives, usually only 1 to 2 years. Fact 6. Sloths move so slowly that algae grows on their fur. This green algae actually helps them blend into the trees where they live, acting as camouflage from predators like eagles and jaguars. Sloths spend most of their lives hanging upside down from branches, sleeping up to 20 hours a day. They only come down from the trees about once a week to go to the bathroom, and even then they move very carefully and slowly. Despite their slow lifestyle, sloths are excellent swimmers. When they need to cross a river, they can move through the water much faster than they move through the trees. Their slow metabolism means they do not need much food, and they can survive on leaves that most other animals would find impossible to digest. Sloths have very low body temperatures compared to most mammals, and they rely on the warmth of the sun to help them maintain their body heat. Their digestive system is so slow that it can take up to a month for them to fully digest a single meal. Sloths have been living in the rainforests of Central and South America for millions of years. Fact 7. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance, which feels like the perfect word for these bright pink birds standing together in shallow water. Flamingos are not born pink. When they hatch, their feathers are grey or white. They turn pink because of the food they eat. Flamingos feed on algae and tiny shrimp that contain pigments called carotenoids. As they eat these foods day after day, the pigments build up in their feathers and skin, turning them pink or even orange. The more of these foods they eat, the brighter their colour becomes. Flamingos also sleep standing on one leg, tucking the other leg up against their body to conserve heat. Scientists are still not completely sure why they do this, but it seems to help them save energy. Flamingos are very social birds and live in colonies that can number in the thousands or even millions. They perform group displays, moving their heads and wings in synchronized patterns, which strengthens bonds within the flock. Baby flamingos are fed a special milk-like substance produced in the parent's digestive tracts, which also contains the pigments that will eventually turn the chicks pink. Fact 8. Polar bears are not actually white. Their fur is made of hollow, transparent hairs that reflect light, making them appear white or yellowish. Underneath all that fur, their skin is black, which helps them absorb heat from the sun. Polar bears are incredible hunters, mainly feeding on seals. They wait patiently by holes in the ice where seals come up to breathe, sometimes staying perfectly still for hours. When a seal appears, the polar bear strikes with lightning speed. Polar bears can smell a seal from nearly a mile away, even when the seal is hiding beneath 3 feet of ice and snow. They are also strong swimmers, able to swim for days without rest, Covering more than 100 miles in open water, their large front paws act like paddles, and their back legs act like rudders, helping them navigate through icy waters. Polar bears are the largest land carnivores on Earth, with males weighing up to 1,500 pounds. Despite their size and strength, polar bears face serious threats from climate change as the Arctic ice they depend on continues to shrink. Fact 9. Bats are the only mammals that can truly fly. While other animals like flying squirrels can glide through the air, bats actually flap their wings and control their flight just like birds do. There are more than 1,400 species of bats, making up about 20% of all mammal species on Earth. Most bats eat insects, and a single bat can catch hundreds of mosquitoes in just 1 hour. Some bats eat fruit, helping to spread seeds across forests. Others drink nectar from flowers, acting as important pollinators. And yes, a few species drink blood, but these vampire bats are very small and mostly feed on livestock without causing harm. Bats use echolocation to navigate in the dark, sending out high-pitched sounds and listening for the echoes that bounce back from objects around them. This system is so accurate that bats can detect objects as thin as a human hair. Bats roost together in large groups, sometimes numbering in the millions in caves, trees, and buildings. They play a critical role in ecosystems around the world, controlling insect populations and pollinating plants that many other species depend on. Fact 10. The heart of a shrimp is located in its head. This might sound strange, but it makes sense when you think about how a shrimp's body is built. Their organs are packed tightly together in the front part of their body, which we might think of as the head, though it is really more like a fused head and chest area called the cephalothorax. Shrimp are found in oceans, rivers, and lakes all over the world. Some are so tiny you can barely see them, while others grow longer than a human forearm. Shrimp are important to ocean ecosystems because they help clean the water by eating dead plants and animals. They're also a favourite food for countless fish, birds, and other sea creatures. Shrimp have a hard outer shell called an exoskeleton that they must shed as they grow. This process is called molting, and during this time, shrimp are very vulnerable to predators. Some species of shrimp can snap their claws so fast that it creates a bubble that collapses with a loud popping sound, which can stun prey or scare away threats. Fact 11. Giraffes have the same number of neck bones as humans. We both have 7 vertebrae in our necks. The difference is that each bone in a giraffe's neck is much, much longer, sometimes more than 10 inches each. A giraffe's neck can be 6 feet long, allowing it to reach leaves high up in trees that other animals cannot access. Despite their long necks, giraffes can still bend down to drink water, though it takes some effort. They have to spread their front legs wide apart and lower their heads carefully. This position makes them vulnerable to predators, so giraffes usually drink quickly and stay alert. Giraffes also have incredibly long tongues, often more than 20 inches, which they use to grab leaves and strip them from branches. Their tongues are dark purple or black, which may help protect them from sunburn as they reach up into the treetops. Giraffes have special valves in their necks that regulate blood flow to their brains, preventing them from passing out when they lift their heads quickly. Male giraffes fight by swinging their long necks and heads at each other in battles that can look like slow-motion wrestling matches. Fact 12. Ants are incredibly strong for their size. Some species of ants can carry objects that are 50 times their own body weight. If a human had the same relative strength, we could lift a car over our heads. Ants live in colonies that can range from just a few dozen individuals to millions. They work together in highly organized ways, building complex underground nests, farming fungus for food, and even waging wars against other ant colonies. Some ants keep aphids like tiny livestock, protecting them from predators and milking them for a sweet substance called honeydew. Ants communicate using chemicals called pheromones, leaving scent trails that other ants can follow to find food or warn of danger. Despite their tiny size, ants are one of the most successful groups of animals on Earth. They are found on every continent except Antarctica. Some species of ants build massive underground cities with multiple chambers for different purposes, including nurseries for young ants, food storage rooms, and even fungus gardens. Leafcutter ants cut pieces of leaves and carry them back to their nests, but they do not eat the leaves themselves. Instead, they use them to grow fungus, which is their main food source. Fact 13. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals, capable of running up to 70 miles per hour, but they can only maintain that speed for about 20 to 30 seconds before their bodies overheat. Cheetahs hunt by stalking their prey, getting as close as possible before exploding into a sprint. They have special adaptations that help them run so fast, including a lightweight body, long legs, and a flexible spine that allows them to stretch out with each stride. Their claws do not fully retract like other cats, giving them extra grip on the ground like the cleats on a runner's shoes. Even though cheetahs are the fastest, they are not the strongest. Other predators like lions and hyenas often steal their kills, so cheetahs have to eat quickly before someone bigger comes along. Cheetahs have distinctive black tear marks running from their eyes down to their mouths, which may help reduce glare from the sun and improve their focus during hunts. Unlike other big cats, cheetahs cannot roar. Instead, they make chirping and purring sounds. Mother cheetahs raise their cubs alone, teaching them how to hunt and avoid danger. Cubs stay with their mothers for about 18 months before going off on their own. Fact 14. Jellyfish have been drifting through the oceans for more than 500 million years, long before dinosaurs, long before trees, long before almost anything else we know today. They do not have brains, hearts, or bones. Their bodies are made up of about 95% water, and they move by contracting their bell-shaped bodies to push water out behind them. Some jellyfish are tiny, no bigger than a fingernail, while others have tentacles that stretch longer than a blue whale. Jellyfish use their tentacles to catch prey, stinging small fish and plankton with venom. Some species have venom so powerful it can be dangerous to humans. Despite their simple bodies, jellyfish are incredibly effective survivors, thriving in oceans all around the world, from shallow coastal waters to the deep sea. One species of jellyfish, called the immortal jellyfish, can actually reverse its aging process. When it gets old or injured, it can transform back into its younger form and start its life cycle over again. Scientists are studying this jellyfish to learn more about aging and regeneration. Jellyfish blooms, where thousands or even millions gather together, can be both beautiful and problematic, sometimes clogging fishing nets and interfering with power plants that use ocean water for cooling. Fact 15. Crows are among the smartest birds in the world. They can recognize human faces and remember people who have been kind or mean to them. If a crow sees someone who once threatened it, the crow will remember that person for years and might even tell other crows to avoid them. Crows use tools, something very few animals can do. They have been seen bending wires into hooks to fish food out of hard-to-reach places. They drop nuts onto roads so cars will crack them open. Crows also play games, sliding down snowy roofs just for fun. They mourn their dead, gathering around a deceased crow and calling out in what seems like a funeral. Crows live in family groups and often help raise each other's young. They have complex social structures and communicate using a wide variety of calls, each with different meanings. Crows can count up to 5 and understand the concept of 0. They hold grudges but also show gratitude, sometimes bringing small gifts to people who feed them regularly. Their problem-solving abilities rival those of great apes in many tests. Fact 16. Seahorses are the only animals where the male becomes pregnant and gives birth. After a female seahorse deposits her eggs into the male's pouch, he fertilizes them and carries them until they are ready to be born. The male seahorse can give birth to hundreds of tiny seahorses at once, releasing them into the water in a process that can take hours. Seahorses are not strong swimmers. They have tiny fins that flutter rapidly, but they mostly just drift with the current, holding onto seaweed or coral with their curled tails. Seahorses eat constantly because they do not have stomachs. Food passes through their bodies so quickly that they need to keep eating almost all the time just to survive. They are also masters of camouflage, changing colour to match their surroundings. Seahorses mate for life, and many species perform elaborate courtship dances every morning to strengthen their bond. They swim side by side, often holding each other's tails. Seahorses have eyes that can move independently, allowing them to look in 2 directions at once. This helps them watch for predators while searching for food. Fact 17. Owls can turn their heads up to 270 degrees, which is 3/4 of a full circle. They need this ability because their eyes are fixed in place and cannot move like ours can. An owl's eyes are so large relative to its head that there is no room for the muscles that would allow them to move. So instead of moving their eyes, owls move their entire head. They have 14 neck vertebrae, twice as many as humans, which gives them incredible flexibility. Owls also have special adaptations for silent flight. The edges of their feathers are soft and fringed, which breaks up the sound of air passing over their wings. This allows them to swoop down on prey without making a sound. Owls hunt mainly at night, using their excellent hearing to locate small animals in complete darkness. Some species can hear a mouse moving under a foot of snow. Owls have 3 eyelids, one for blinking, one for sleeping, and one for keeping their eyes clean and healthy. Different species of owls live in almost every habitat on Earth, from forests and deserts to grasslands and Arctic tundra. Fact 18. Dolphins sleep with only half of their brain at a time. This is called unihemispheric sleep, and it allows them to rest while still being aware of their surroundings. Dolphins need to breathe air, so they cannot fully fall asleep like we do, or they would drown. By keeping one half of their brain awake, they can continue swimming to the surface to breathe and watch for predators. The 2 halves of their brain take turns sleeping, so over the course of a day, the dolphin gets a full night's rest, just not all at once. Dolphins are incredibly social animals, living in groups called pods. They communicate using clicks, whistles, and body language. They play together, hunt together, and even help each other when one is sick or injured. Dolphins have been known to save humans from drowning or protect them from sharks. Each dolphin has a unique whistle that acts like a name, and other dolphins use this whistle to call to them. Dolphins are excellent hunters, using teamwork to herd fish into tight groups before taking turns feeding. They also use echolocation to find prey hidden in sand or murky water. Fact 19. The tongue of a blue whale can weigh as much as an entire elephant, around 6,000 pounds. A blue whale's mouth is so large that 50 people could stand inside it, though the whale's throat is much smaller, only about the size of a dinner plate. This is because blue whales do not chew their food. They filter feed, taking huge gulps of water filled with krill, and then pushing the water back out through baleen plates, trapping the krill inside. A blue whale can eat up to 4 tons of krill in a single day during feeding season. Despite their massive size, blue whales are gentle giants, moving slowly through the ocean and never bothering animals larger than krill. Their songs can be heard by other whales from hundreds of miles away. These songs are among the loudest sounds made by any animal, reaching volumes of over 180 decibels. Blue whales sing complex patterns that can last for hours, and scientists believe these songs may help them find mates or communicate across vast ocean distances. Blue whales migrate thousands of miles each year between their feeding grounds in cold waters and their breeding grounds in warmer waters. Fact 20. Frogs do not drink water through their mouths. Instead, they absorb water directly through their skin. This is why frogs need to live in moist environments, and why you often find them near ponds, rivers, and streams. Their skin is very thin and permeable, which allows water to pass through it easily. This also means that frogs are very sensitive to pollution and changes in their environment. If the water they live in becomes contaminated, the toxins can pass through their skin and make them sick. Scientists often study frogs as indicators of environmental health, because they are usually the first to be affected when something goes wrong in an ecosystem. Frogs come in an incredible variety of colours and sizes, from tiny frogs smaller than a thumbnail to giant frogs as big as a house cat. Some frogs are brightly coloured to warn predators that they are poisonous. The poison dart frog, for example, has skin toxins so powerful that indigenous people have used them to coat the tips of hunting arrows. Male frogs call to attract mates, and each species has its own distinct call. On warm spring nights, the chorus of frog calls can be heard echoing across wetlands. Fact 21. Kangaroos cannot walk backwards. The shape of their legs and the size of their tail make it nearly impossible for them to move in reverse. This is one reason why the kangaroo and emu, another Australian animal that cannot easily walk backwards, were chosen as symbols for Australia. They represent a country that is always moving forward. Kangaroos travel by hopping, and they are incredibly efficient at it. The tendons in their legs act like springs, storing energy with each hop and releasing it with the next, allowing them to cover great distances without using much energy. A kangaroo can hop at speeds of more than 35 miles per hour, and can jump nearly 30 feet in a single leap. Female kangaroos have pouches where their babies, called joeys, grow and develop after being born incredibly tiny and underdeveloped. A newborn joey is only about an inch long, blind and hairless. It crawls into its mother's pouch immediately after birth and stays there for several months, drinking milk and continuing to grow. Kangaroos are social animals that live in groups called mobs. They communicate through a variety of sounds and body postures, and males often box with each other to establish dominance. Fact 22. Woodpeckers hit their heads against trees up to 20 times per second, and they can do this thousands of times a day without getting a headache or brain damage. They have special adaptations that protect their brains from all that impact. Their skulls are thick and spongy, and they have a special bone that wraps around their brain like a seatbelt, absorbing shock. Their brains also fit very tightly inside their skulls, leaving no room for them to move around and get injured. Woodpeckers drill into trees to find insects hiding under the bark, to create nesting holes, and to communicate with other woodpeckers by drumming on hollow wood. Each species has its own drumming pattern, like a unique song. Their tongues are incredibly long and sticky, perfect for reaching deep into crevices to pull out insects. In some species, the tongue wraps around the back of the skull when not in use. Woodpeckers have stiff tail feathers that act as a brace, helping them balance against tree trunks while they hammer away. They also have special feet with 2 toes pointing forward and 2 pointing back, giving them a strong grip on vertical surfaces. Fact 23. Butterflies taste with their feet. When a butterfly lands on a flower or a leaf, it is actually tasting it to see if it is a good place to lay eggs or a good source of food. Butterflies have sensors on their feet that can detect different chemicals, helping them identify the right plants for their caterpillars to eat. Butterflies go through one of the most remarkable transformations in nature. They start as eggs, hatch into caterpillars, eat constantly and grow, then form a chrysalis where their bodies completely break down and rebuild into a butterfly. Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar essentially turns into liquid before reorganizing into a butterfly. This process is called metamorphosis, and it can take anywhere from a few weeks to several months depending on the species. When the butterfly emerges, it has wings that are soft and crumpled, which it pumps full of fluid until they harden and are ready to fly. Butterfly wings are covered in thousands of tiny scales that create their beautiful colours and patterns. Some butterflies migrate incredible distances. The monarch butterfly travels up to 3,000 miles from Canada to Mexico each winter, a journey that takes multiple generations to complete. Butterflies can see colours that humans cannot, including ultraviolet light, which helps them find flowers with nectar. Fact 24. Penguins are birds, but they cannot fly. Their wings have evolved into flippers that help them swim incredibly well. Penguins are some of the best swimmers in the bird world, able to dive deep into the ocean and hold their breath for many minutes. Some species can dive more than 500 feet below the surface, searching for fish and squid. Penguins live mostly in the southern hemisphere, with many species found in Antarctica, where temperatures can drop to -70 degrees Fahrenheit. To survive the cold, penguins huddle together in huge groups, taking turns moving to the centre where it is warmest. Emperor penguins are especially amazing because the males incubate the eggs on their feet, keeping them warm under a fold of skin for more than 2 months without eating anything, surviving only on their stored fat. During this time, they endure some of the harshest weather conditions on Earth, including blizzards and freezing winds. When the chicks hatch, both parents take turns caring for them and hunting for food. Penguins are excellent parents, recognizing their own chicks among thousands by their unique calls. Penguins have a layer of blubber and tightly packed feathers that keep them warm in icy waters. Fact 25. Camels can go for weeks without drinking water, surviving in some of the hottest and driest deserts on Earth. They do not store water in their humps like many people think. The humps are actually filled with fat, which the camel's body can break down into energy and water when food and water are scarce. A camel can lose up to 25% of its body weight from dehydration without becoming seriously ill, whereas most mammals, including humans, would die if they lost even 15%. When a camel finally finds water, it can drink up to 30 gallons in just 15 minutes, rehydrating incredibly quickly. Camels also have special adaptations to keep sand out of their Eyes and noses, they have long eyelashes and can close their nostrils completely during sandstorms. Their wide feet help them walk on soft sand without sinking. Camels have 2 rows of eyelashes and a 3rd transparent eyelid that protects their eyes, while still allowing them to see during storms. They can also change their body temperature throughout the day, allowing them to avoid sweating until temperatures become extremely high. This helps them conserve water in desert environments where every drop matters. Fact 26. Sharks have been swimming in Earth's oceans for more than 400 million years. They existed before trees grew on land and before dinosaurs walked the planet. Sharks have survived 5 mass extinction events that wiped out most other life forms. Their bodies are made of cartilage instead of bone, which makes them lighter and more flexible in the water. Sharks must keep swimming to breathe because water needs to flow over their gills constantly. They have special sensors in their snouts that can detect electrical signals from other animals' heartbeats, helping them find prey even in complete darkness. Some sharks can smell a single drop of blood in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. There are over 500 species of sharks, ranging from the tiny dwarf lantern shark that fits in your hand to the enormous whale shark that grows longer than a bus. Fact 27. Koalas sleep for up to 22 hours each day, making them one of the sleepiest animals on Earth. They need so much rest because their diet of eucalyptus leaves provides very little energy. Eucalyptus is actually toxic to most animals, but koalas have special bacteria in their stomachs that break down the poisonous compounds. Baby koalas eat a special substance from their mother called pap, which contains these important bacteria. Koalas rarely drink water because they get most of their moisture from the leaves they eat. In fact, their name comes from an Aboriginal word meaning no drink. Each koala has unique fingerprints, just like humans do. These fingerprints help them grip tree branches as they climb. Koalas are not bears, even though many people call them koala bears. They're actually marsupials, related to kangaroos and wombats. Fact 28. A group of crows is called a murder, though nobody knows exactly why they received this dark name. Ravens, which are closely related to crows, are even larger and equally intelligent. Ravens can learn to mimic human speech and other sounds they hear frequently. In the wild, ravens have been observed working together to solve problems. One raven will distract a larger animal while another steals its food. Ravens play tricks on each other and seem to have a sense of humour. They slide down snowy hills repeatedly just for enjoyment. Ravens mate for life and perform acrobatic flight displays during courtship, including barrel rolls and synchronized flying. These birds appear in mythology and folklore across many cultures, often portrayed as clever tricksters or wise messengers. Wild ravens can live for more than 20 years. Fact 29. The heart of a fairy fly, one of the smallest insects on Earth, is so tiny it does not have chambers like larger animal hearts. Instead, it is just a simple tube that pushes fluid through the insect's body. Fairy flies are actually a type of wasp, and the smallest known species measures only about 1/5 of a millimetre long. That is smaller than a grain of salt. Despite their minuscule size, fairy flies have wings, eyes, and all the organs they need to survive. They lay their eggs inside the eggs of other insects. Scientists need powerful microscopes to study these creatures properly. The smallest fairy flies have fewer cells in their entire bodies than larger animals have in a single organ. Their existence challenges our understanding of how small a complex organism can possibly be. Fact 30. Wolves howl to communicate with their pack members across long distances. Each wolf has a unique howl, allowing pack members to identify who is calling. Howling helps wolves coordinate hunting, announce their location, and strengthen social bonds within the group. A wolf's howl can be heard from 6 miles away in forests and up to 10 miles away in open tundra. Wolves also howl before and after hunts, possibly to rally the pack and celebrate success. They're extremely social animals that live in family units led by an alpha pair. Wolf packs have complex social structures with rules and hierarchies. Wolves mate for life, and both parents help raise the pups. The entire pack participates in caring for young wolves, bringing them food and protecting them from danger. Wolves are incredibly smart hunters that use strategy and teamwork to bring down prey much larger than themselves. Fact 31. Sea otters hold hands while they sleep so they do not drift apart in the ocean currents. They often wrap themselves in kelp to anchor themselves in one place. Sea otters have the thickest fur of any animal on Earth, with up to 1 million hairs per square inch. This dense fur traps air bubbles that keep them warm and help them float. Unlike other marine mammals, sea otters do not have blubber for insulation. They must eat about 25% of their body weight each day to maintain their high metabolism and stay warm. Sea otters use rocks as tools to crack open shellfish, making them one of the few animals that use tools. They keep a favourite rock in a pocket of loose skin under their arms and carry it with them. Sea otters play a crucial role in kelp forest ecosystems by eating sea urchins that would otherwise destroy the kelp. Fact 32. Chameleons change colour not just for camouflage but also to communicate their mood and regulate their body temperature. When a chameleon is angry or defending territory, it displays bright, bold colours. When relaxed, it shows softer tones. Special cells in their skin called chromatophores contain different pigments. By expanding or contracting these cells, chameleons create various colour patterns. Beneath these pigment cells are other cells that reflect light, producing blue and white colours. Chameleons also have eyes that move independently, allowing them to look in two different directions simultaneously. This helps them spot both prey and predators without moving their heads. Their tongues are incredibly long, sometimes twice the length of their bodies, and can shoot out to catch insects in a fraction of a second. The tongue has a sticky tip that helps capture prey. Fact 33. Honeybees communicate through dance. When a forager bee discovers flowers with good nectar, she returns to the hive and performs a waggle dance. The direction and duration of the dance tell other bees exactly where to find the flowers. A bee might dance on the vertical honeycomb, with the angle of her dance corresponding to the angle between the sun and the flowers. If she waggles straight up, the flowers are toward the sun. The length of the waggle indicates distance. This complex language allows the entire hive to work efficiently together. A single bee visits thousands of flowers during her lifetime but produces only about 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. Bees have 5 eyes and can see ultraviolet light patterns on flowers that are invisible to humans. When a bee stings, she dies because her stinger tears away from her body. Fact 34. Tardigrades, also called water bears, are microscopic animals that can survive almost anything. They can withstand temperatures from near absolute zero to above boiling. They survive extreme pressure, both in the deepest ocean trenches and in the vacuum of space. Tardigrades can go without food or water for more than 30 years by entering a state called cryptobiosis, where they dry out and their metabolism nearly stops. When conditions improve, they rehydrate and continue living as if nothing happened. Scientists have sent tardigrades into space, exposed them to radiation, and frozen them, yet they survived. Despite being nearly indestructible, tardigrades are gentle creatures that waddle slowly on 8 legs, eating algae and plant cells. More than 1,000 species exist, living everywhere from mountaintops to ocean floors. They have existed for over 500 million years. Fact 35. Male peacocks display their magnificent tail feathers to attract females. These feathers can measure over 5 feet long and contain up to 175 eye spots. When courting, a peacock spreads his feathers into a huge fan and shakes them, creating a rustling sound. The iridescent colours come from microscopic crystal structures that reflect light. Female peahens choose mates based on the size, colour and symmetry of these displays. Only males have the colourful plumage, while females are brown and grey for camouflage while nesting. Despite their elaborate tails, peacocks can fly, though not very far or for long periods. In the wild, they roost in trees at night to avoid predators. Peacocks are actually members of the pheasant family. They are native to South Asia but have been introduced to many other parts of the world. Fact 36. Axolotls are salamanders that never grow up. While most amphibians transform from water-breathing larvae into air-breathing adults, axolotls remain in their larval form their entire lives. This condition is called neoteny. They keep their feathery external gills and continue living underwater. Axolotls have an amazing ability to regenerate lost body parts. If an axolotl loses a leg, it can grow a new one complete with bones, muscles and nerves. They can even regenerate parts of their heart, brain and spinal cord. Scientists study axolotls to understand how regeneration works, hoping to apply this knowledge to human medicine. Wild axolotls are critically endangered, and found only in a few lakes near Mexico City. However, millions exist in laboratories and as pets. They come in various colours including pink, gold and black. Fact 37. Mantis shrimp have the most complex eyes in the animal kingdom. While humans have 3 types of colour receptors, mantis shrimp have 16, allowing them to see colours we cannot even imagine. They can also see ultraviolet and polarised light. Their eyes move independently and can perceive depth with just one eye. Mantis shrimp are not actually shrimp, but a different type of marine crustacean. They are fierce predators with incredibly powerful front limbs. Some species have club-like appendages that strike with the force of a bullet, creating shock waves that can break aquarium glass. These strikes are so fast they create flashes of light and temperatures as hot as the sun's surface for a split second. Other species have sharp, spear-like limbs for impaling soft prey. Despite their small size, mantis shrimp are fierce and territorial. Fact 38. Naked mole rats are strange rodents that live entirely underground in large colonies. They are the only mammals that live in a social structure similar to bees or ants, with a queen who gives birth while other members work as soldiers or labourers. Naked mole rats are practically immune to cancer. Scientists are studying them to understand why. They can survive up to 18 minutes without oxygen by switching their metabolism to use fructose instead of glucose. They feel almost no pain because they lack a neurotransmitter that sends pain signals. Naked mole rats are also resistant to acid. Their skin lacks hair except for whiskers that help them navigate dark tunnels. They can live for more than 30 years, which is exceptional for such small rodents. These animals never drink water, getting all moisture from the roots and tubers they eat. Fact 39. Arctic terns make the longest migration of any animal. Each year they fly from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back again, covering about 44,000 miles. During their lifetime, which can span 30 years or more, an Arctic tern might travel over 1.5 million miles. That is equivalent to flying to the moon and back 3 times. These birds experience 2 summers each year and see more daylight than any other creature on Earth. Arctic terns are small, weighing only about 4 ounces, yet they accomplish this incredible journey. They feed on fish and marine invertebrates along the way. Arctic terns are aggressive defenders of their nests and will dive bomb intruders, including humans who get too close. Their navigation abilities remain a mystery to scientists who wonder how such small birds find their way across entire oceans. Fact 40. Pistol shrimp hunt using bubbles as weapons. They have one oversized claw that snaps shut so rapidly it creates a cavitation bubble. When this bubble collapses, it produces a sound louder than a gunshot and creates a shockwave strong enough to stun or kill small fish. The collapsing bubble also briefly produces temperatures of about 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit, nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. The flash of light created by this process is called sonoluminescence. Despite this incredible power, the shrimp itself remains unharmed. Pistol shrimp often form partnerships with gobies, small fish with good eyesight. The nearly blind shrimp digs a burrow while the goby stands guard, warning its partner of approaching danger. They communicate through touch, with the shrimp keeping an antenna on the fish while working. Fact 41. Lyrebirds are master mimics capable of copying almost any sound they hear. They imitate other birds, animal calls, and even mechanical sounds like chainsaws, car alarms, and camera shutters. Male lyrebirds incorporate these sounds into elaborate songs during courtship displays. They sing while fanning their magnificent tail feathers, which resemble a Greek lyre. Lyrebirds have excellent memories and can remember and reproduce sounds they heard years earlier. In areas near human activity, researchers have recorded lyrebirds mimicking construction equipment and emergency sirens with perfect accuracy. Young lyrebirds learn songs from their fathers and other males in the area. Each bird develops a unique repertoire. Lyrebirds spend most of their time on the forest floor scratching through leaf litter for insects. They are strong runners but weak flyers. Fact 42. Hagfish produce incredible amounts of slime when threatened. A single hagfish can turn a bucket of water into thick goop in seconds. This slime clogs the gills of predators, causing them to release the hagfish. The slime is made of mucus and protein threads that expand rapidly when mixed with seawater. Hagfish can tie themselves in knots to scrape off their own slime or to gain leverage while feeding. They are scavengers that eat dead animals on the ocean floor. Hagfish have skulls but no backbone, making them unique among living vertebrates. They have existed for over 300 million years with little change. Hagfish have 4 hearts and can absorb nutrients directly through their skin. Their slime has inspired scientists researching new materials for applications ranging from fabric to surgical sutures. Fact 43. Emperor penguins are the tallest and heaviest of all penguin species. They breed during the Antarctic winter in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. After laying a single egg, the female transfers it to the male and leaves to hunt at sea for 2 months. The male balances the egg on his feet under a warm fold of skin called a brood pouch. Thousands of males huddle together to survive temperatures reaching -60 degrees Fahrenheit and winds up to 100 miles per hour. They constantly shuffle positions so everyone gets time in the warm center. Males do not eat anything during this entire period, losing up to half their body weight. When the chick hatches, the father feeds it with a special secretion until the mother returns. If she does not return in time, the chick will starve despite the father's efforts. Fact 44. Platypuses are so strange that when scientists first saw a specimen, they thought it was a hoax. This animal has a duck bill, beaver tail, otter feet, and lays eggs like a reptile, yet produces milk for its young like other mammals. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs that can cause severe pain to humans. The platypus is one of only 5 remaining species of monotrims, mammals that lay eggs. Platypuses hunt underwater with their eyes, ears, and nostrils closed. Instead, they use electroreception, detecting electrical signals from muscle contractions in their prey. Their bills contain thousands of receptors. Platypuses store food in cheek pouches while hunting, then surface to eat. They have no stomach, so food goes directly from their esophagus to their intestines. Platypuses glow blue-green under ultraviolet light, though scientists are unsure why. Fact 45. Electric eels are not actually eels, but a type of knife fish. They can generate up to 800 volts of electricity, enough to stun a horse. They use this electric charge for hunting, self-defense, and navigation. Electric eels have 3 electric organs that take up most of their body, made from modified muscle cells. They can control the intensity of their shocks, using weak pulses to navigate and communicate, and powerful blasts to hunt or defend themselves. Electric eels must surface every 10 minutes to breathe air because their gills are small. They absorb 80% of their oxygen through their mouth tissue. Young electric eels eat invertebrates, while adults prey on fish and small mammals. They can grow up to 8 feet long and weigh over 40 pounds. Electric eels live in murky rivers and swamps in South America. Fact 46. Snow leopards live in some of the most remote mountain ranges in Central Asia. They have adapted perfectly to cold, high-altitude environments. Their thick fur keeps them warm in temperatures as low as -40 degrees. Snow leopards have large paws that act like natural snowshoes, helping them walk on deep snow without sinking. Their long tails help them balance on steep rocky slopes and wrap around their bodies for extra warmth while resting. Snow leopards cannot roar like other big cats. They make various sounds including hisses, growls, and a distinctive chuffing noise. These solitary cats have huge territories, sometimes spanning hundreds of square miles. They are excellent jumpers, capable of leaping up to 50 feet. Snow leopards prey mainly on wild sheep and goats, but will eat smaller animals when necessary. They are endangered due to habitat loss and poaching. Fact 47. Archerfish shoot down insects with jets of water. They swim near the surface, spot prey on overhanging branches, and spit precisely aimed streams of water up to 6 feet through the air. The force knocks insects into the water, where the fish quickly grab them. Young archerfish learn this skill by watching adults. They must calculate the refraction of light at the water's surface to aim accurately. Archerfish can adjust their stream's power and trajectory for different distances and target sizes. They often compete with other archerfish, so speed is essential. The fish that shoots down the prey does not always get to eat it. Archerfish also learn to recognize human faces and can distinguish between different people. They have excellent eyesight both above and below water. Multiple species of archerfish exist throughout Southeast Asia and Australia. Fact 48. Pandas spend about 14 hours each day eating bamboo. They consume up to 85 pounds of it daily because bamboo provides very little nutrition. Pandas have strong jaw muscles and tough teeth for crushing bamboo stalks. They have an extended wrist bone that functions like a thumb, helping them grip bamboo. Despite being classified as carnivores, pandas eat almost exclusively plants. Their digestive systems have not adapted well to this vegetarian diet, which is why they must eat so much. Occasionally pandas eat small animals or carrion, showing their carnivorous ancestry. Baby pandas are incredibly tiny at birth, weighing only about 4 ounces, which is 1/900th of their mother's weight. This is the smallest baby relative to mother size of any placental mammal. Pandas are excellent tree climbers and strong swimmers despite their bulky appearance. Fact 49. Secretary birds are large raptors that hunt on foot rather than from the air. They're famous for stomping on snakes with powerful kicks that can deliver a force 5 times their body weight. Secretary birds have long legs that keep their bodies away from striking fangs. They stamp on prey repeatedly to stun or kill it. These birds can kick 5 times in less than a second. Their scientific name means snake-eating messenger, and they consume various reptiles, rodents, and insects. Secretary birds pair for life and build huge nests in acacia trees. Both parents care for the chicks. Despite spending most time on the ground, secretary birds fly well and roost in trees. They stand over 4 feet tall with distinctive black feathers protruding from the back of their heads like old-fashioned quill pens, which may explain their name. Fact 50. Bombardier beetles defend themselves with boiling chemical spray. When threatened, they mix 2 chemicals in a special chamber inside their abdomen. The reaction produces a noxious spray at temperatures near boiling point. They can aim this spray in any direction with remarkable accuracy. The beetle fires in pulses, up to 500 explosions per second, making a popping sound. This defense is so effective that few predators bother bombardier beetles twice. The chemicals are toxic and can irritate skin and eyes. Bombardier beetles use this weapon only when necessary because producing the chemicals requires energy. Scientists have studied their spray mechanism as inspiration for efficient fuel injection systems. These beetles live on every continent except Antarctica. Different species produce slightly different chemical combinations, but all use the same explosive principle. Fact 51. Humpback whales sing complex songs that can last up to 20 minutes and repeat for hours. Only males sing, and all whales in the same region sing similar versions of the same song. These songs change gradually over time, with whales adding new phrases and dropping old ones. Within a few years, the song becomes completely different. Scientists believe males sing to attract females or establish dominance, though the exact purpose remains mysterious. Humpback whale songs can travel across entire ocean basins. Whales in different oceans sing different songs, like regional dialects. Occasionally, a song from one population spreads to another, suggesting whales learn from each other. Humpback whales also breach, launching their massive bodies out of the water and crashing back down. They can weigh 40 tons, yet still propel themselves almost entirely above the surface. Fact 52. Leafcutter ants create underground farms where they grow fungus for food. Worker ants cut pieces of leaves and carry them back to their nest, sometimes travelling over half a mile. The ants do not eat the leaves directly because they cannot digest them. Instead, they chew the leaves into pulp and use it as fertilizer for their fungus gardens. The fungus breaks down the plant material, and the ants harvest it to feed their colony. A single leafcutter colony can contain up to 8 million ants and consume as much vegetation as a cow. Different-sized ants have different jobs. Large soldiers defend the colony, medium workers cut and carry leaves, and tiny ants ride on the leaf pieces to protect carriers from parasitic flies. The fungus these ants cultivate exists nowhere else in nature. Leafcutter colonies can last for decades. Fact 53. Pistol crabs live in pairs inside sponges found on coral reefs. When they are young larvae, drifting in the ocean, they find a small sponge and enter it. As the crab grows, so does the sponge, eventually trapping the crab inside forever. Usually a male and female get trapped together and spend their entire lives inside this living prison. The sponge provides protection from predators, and the crabs feed on food particles that flow through the sponge's pores. In Japanese culture, these crabs symbolize eternal love because the mated pair remains together for life. The crabs keep the sponge clean by eating debris and parasites. Their relationship benefits both creatures. The crabs are completely transparent except for their spots, making them nearly invisible inside the sponge. They communicate by snapping their claws. Fact 54. Mimic octopuses can impersonate more than 15 different sea creatures. They change their colour, shape, and behaviour to look like venomous animals that predators avoid. A mimic octopus can flatten itself and glide along the seafloor pretending to be a poisonous sole fish. It can arrange its arms to look like the banded sea snake, one of the most toxic animals in the ocean. When threatened by different predators, it chooses which animal to mimic, based on what that particular predator fears most. This requires remarkable intelligence and memory. Mimic octopuses also impersonate lionfish by spreading their arms and moving them like fins. They were discovered only in 1998 off the coast of Indonesia. Scientists continue learning about their abilities. These octopuses live in shallow, murky waters where their mimicry works best. Fact 55. Vultures have extremely acidic stomach acid that allows them to safely digest rotting meat contaminated with bacteria that would kill most other animals. Their digestive systems can handle anthrax, botulism, and cholera without getting sick. This makes vultures incredibly important for ecosystems because they prevent diseases from spreading. When vultures eat infected carcasses, they destroy the pathogens. Vultures also have bald heads, which stays cleaner when they stick their heads inside carcasses to feed. Their powerful beaks can tear through tough hide. Despite their reputation, vultures rarely kill living animals. They soar for hours using thermal air currents, scanning the ground for dead animals. Some species can smell carrion from over a mile away. Vultures play a crucial role in nature's cleanup crew. Unfortunately, many vulture populations are declining worldwide. Fact 56. Garden snails have thousands of tiny teeth arranged on a tongue-like structure called a radula. One species can have over 14,000 teeth. These teeth work like a file, scraping away at leaves and plants. As teeth at the front wear down, new teeth grow in from the back. Snails are hermaphrodites, meaning each individual has both male and female reproductive organs. When two snails mate, both can lay eggs afterward. Garden snails can sleep for 3 years straight during unfavourable conditions, sealing themselves inside their shells with dried mucus. When conditions improve, they wake up and resume normal activities. Snails move by gliding on a layer of mucus they secrete. This slime protects their soft bodies and helps them stick to vertical surfaces. Some snails can climb walls and even cross razor blades without injury because of this protective layer. Fact 57. Lyrebirds native to Australia can imitate nearly any sound with incredible accuracy. In forests near human settlements, researchers have recorded lyrebirds perfectly copying chainsaws, camera shutters, car alarms, crying babies, and even axes chopping wood. One famous lyrebird named Chook mimicked the sounds of construction work happening near his territory, including power drills and hammers. These birds remember sounds for years and incorporate them into their songs. Male lyrebirds sing for several hours each day during breeding season, showing off their vocal skills to attract females. They combine natural bird calls with artificial sounds in complex arrangements. Lyrebirds also have beautiful tail feathers that they display while singing. They're ground-dwelling birds that scratch through forest leaf litter searching for insects, worms, and spiders to eat. Fact 58. Sperm whales can dive deeper than almost any other mammal, reaching depths of over 6,000 feet. They hunt giant squid in the dark ocean depths where sunlight never reaches. These dives can last over 90 minutes. Sperm whales have the largest brain of any animal that has ever lived, weighing up to 20 pounds. They produce the loudest sounds made by any living creature, up to 230 decibels. These clicking sounds help them navigate and hunt using echolocation. The clicks are so powerful they can vibrate a human body standing nearby. Sperm whales live in social groups led by females. Males leave their family groups as teenagers and live alone or in bachelor pods. Sperm whales sleep vertically, floating just below the surface with their heads pointing up. They appear to sleep for only 7% of their day. Fact 59. Hoatzins are bizarre birds that live in South American swamps. Baby hoatzins have claws on their wings that help them climb branches. If threatened, chicks drop from the nest into the water below, then use their wing claws to climb back up to safety. These claws disappear as the birds mature. Hutsins eat leaves almost exclusively, which is rare for birds. They ferment the leaves in their crop using bacteria similar to how cows digest grass. This fermentation produces a strong smell, earning them the nickname stink birds. The fermentation chamber takes up so much space that their flight muscles are reduced, making them weak, clumsy flyers. Hutsins prefer to climb through branches rather than fly. They have spiky crests on their heads and bright blue skin around their eyes. Local people generally do not hunt Hutsins because their meat tastes bad due to their unusual diet. Fact 60. Peacock mantis shrimp punch with the speed of a speeding bullet. Their club-like appendages accelerate faster than a .22 caliber bullet, moving at 50 miles per hour. The punch is so quick that it boils the water around it, creating cavitation bubbles. When these bubbles collapse, they produce a second shockwave and flash of light. This double strike can smash through crab shells and mollusk shells easily. Aquariums housing mantis shrimp need special thick glass because these animals have cracked regular aquarium walls. Despite their aggressive hunting style, mantis shrimp are devoted parents. They guard their eggs carefully, keeping them clean and fanning them with water. Some species mate for life. Mantis shrimp come in brilliant colours and patterns. They live in burrows on the seafloor or in coral crevices throughout tropical oceans. Fact 61. Axolotls smile constantly because of the way their mouths are shaped. This permanent grin makes them look friendly and has contributed to their popularity as pets. Beyond their appearance, axolotls possess extraordinary healing abilities. They can regenerate lost limbs perfectly, including bones, muscles, nerves, and skin, without any scarring. They can regrow the same limb multiple times throughout their lives. Axolotls can also regenerate damaged organs, including parts of their brain, heart, and spinal cord. Scientists are intensely studying these abilities, hoping to unlock secrets that could help humans heal from injuries. In addition to regeneration, axolotls can accept transplanted organs from other individuals without rejection. Their immune systems work differently than most animals. Wild axolotls were once common in Mexican lakes, but are now critically endangered, though millions exist in captivity worldwide. Fact 62. Box jellyfish are among the most venomous creatures on Earth. Their tentacles contain millions of microscopic darts loaded with toxin. When prey brushes against a tentacle, these darts fire into the victim's skin and inject venom. The venom attacks the heart, nervous system, and skin cells simultaneously. A box jellyfish sting can kill a human in minutes. Despite having no brain, box jellyfish have 24 eyes arranged in clusters. Some eyes look upward, some look downward, and some scan the horizon. Unlike most jellyfish that drift with currents, box jellyfish actively swim and hunt. They can move at speeds up to 5 miles per hour. Box jellyfish navigate around obstacles and can even swim backward. They hunt small fish and shrimp in shallow coastal waters. Their transparent bodies make them nearly invisible in water, which makes them particularly dangerous to swimmers. Fact 63. Secretary birds have eyelashes that any human would envy. These long lashes protect their eyes from dust and injury while they stomp through grasslands. Secretary birds hunt during the hottest parts of the day when other raptors rest. They walk up to 20 miles daily, searching for food. Their preferred prey includes snakes, even venomous species like cobies and vipers. When they find a snake, secretary birds spread their wings like a matador's cape to confuse and distract the reptile while delivering rapid kicks. Their kicks have 5 times the force of their body weight concentrated into a small area. The strikes happen faster than a snake can react. After stomping prey to death, secretary birds swallow it whole. They have excellent eyesight and can spot small animals from great distances. Pairs work together, with one bird flushing prey while the other strikes. Fact 64. Narwhals are often called unicorns of the sea because of the long spiral tusk protruding from their heads. This tusk is actually an elongated tooth that can grow up to 10 feet long. Only males typically develop tusks, though some females grow small ones. Scientists discovered that the tusk contains millions of nerve endings. Narwhals use it to sense changes in water temperature, pressure, and chemical composition. Males also engage in tusk-to-tusk combat, though these fights rarely cause serious injury. Narwhals live in Arctic waters near Greenland, Canada, and Russia. They dive deep hunting for fish and squid, sometimes reaching depths of 5,000 feet. Narwhals travel in groups and communicate using clicks, whistles, and knocking sounds. Their mottled colouring darkens with age. Indigenous Arctic peoples have hunted narwhals sustainably for thousands of years, using every part of the animal. Fact 65. Bowerbirds create elaborate structures called bowers to attract mates. Males spend weeks building and decorating these displays. Some species construct avenue-shaped bowers with walls made from sticks. Others build maypole bowers around saplings. The birds decorate their bowers with colourful objects like flowers, berries, shells, feathers, and even human-made items like bottle caps and plastic pieces. Each species prefers specific colours. Satin bowerbirds collect blue objects almost exclusively. Males arrange their collections carefully, often organising items by size and colour. They spend hours perfecting their displays. When a female visits, the male performs an elaborate dance while making various sounds, including mimicking other birds. If impressed, the female mates with him, but then leaves to build her own nest elsewhere. Males with the best bowers and performances mate with multiple females. The bower itself is not a nest. Fact 66. Dung beetles navigate using the Milky Way galaxy. When rolling balls of dung away from piles where competition is fierce, these beetles travel in straight lines to avoid circling back to where they started. On moonless nights, dung beetles use the light from the Milky Way to orient themselves. Scientists confirm this by placing tiny caps on beetles' heads that block their view of the sky. The beetles then rolled in circles. Dung beetles are incredibly strong for their size, able to pull over 1,000 times their body weight. They collect dung from herbivores, roll it into balls, and bury it as food for themselves or their larvae. This behaviour makes dung beetles essential for nutrient cycling and soil health. Some ancient cultures considered them sacred. Female dung beetles lay eggs inside dung balls underground, providing food for developing larvae. Fact 67. Fireflies produce light through a chemical reaction in their abdomens. Special cells contain a substance called luciferin that reacts with oxygen, producing light with almost no heat. This process is one of the most efficient light sources known, with nearly 100% of the energy converted to light. Fireflies use these flashing patterns to find mates. Each species has a unique flash pattern, like a secret code. Males fly around flashing their species-specific signal, while females wait on the ground or in vegetation. When a female sees a male of her species, she flashes back. Some female fireflies mimic the flash patterns of other species to lure males close, then eat them. Firefly larvae also glow, earning them the name glowworms. These larvae hunt snails and slugs. Adult fireflies live only a few weeks and many do not eat anything, surviving on energy stored from their larval stage. Fact 68. Fennec foxes have enormous ears that can grow up to 6 inches long. These oversized ears help them hear prey moving underground, and also dissipate heat in the scorching Sahara Desert where they live. Blood vessels close to the skin surface in their ears release excess body heat. Fennec foxes are the smallest fox species, weighing only about 3 pounds. Their cream-coloured fur reflects sunlight during the day and keeps them warm during cold desert nights. Thick fur on their feet protects them from hot sand. Fennec foxes are social animals that live in family groups of up to 10 individuals. They dig extensive burrow systems with multiple entrances. These burrows stay cool during the day. Fennec foxes are nocturnal, hunting rodents, insects, birds, and eggs at night. They can survive long periods without water, getting moisture from their food. Fact 69. Komodo dragons are the largest living lizards, growing up to 10 feet long and weighing over 300 pounds. They have venomous bites that prevent blood from clotting and send prey into shock. Previously, scientists thought bacteria in their mouths caused infections, but research revealed venom glands. Komodo dragons can swallow prey whole, including animals as large as deer. They have flexible skulls and expandable stomachs. After a large meal, they might not eat again for weeks. Komodo dragons can run up to 13 miles per hour in short bursts. Female Komodo dragons can reproduce without males through parthenogenesis, producing offspring from unfertilized eggs. However, these offspring are always male. Komodo dragons live only on a few Indonesian islands. They are excellent swimmers and have been seen swimming between islands. Young Komodo dragons climb trees to avoid being eaten by adults. Fact 70. Archerfish can recognize human faces and remember which people fed them previously. In experiments, researchers showed archerfish photos of different human faces. The fish learned to spit water at specific faces to receive food rewards. They could distinguish between faces even when shown new photos of the same people. This is remarkable because fish do not have the brain structure that humans use for facial recognition. Archerfish must learn this complex task using completely different neural pathways. Their ability to aim accurately also requires sophisticated calculations. When looking at prey above water, archerfish must account for light refraction. Water bends light, making objects appear in different locations than they actually are. The fish compensate for this distortion automatically. Young archerfish improve their aim with practice, suggesting they learn through trial and error. Fact 71. Blue-ringed octopuses are tiny, usually no bigger than a golf ball, but they carry enough venom to kill 26 adult humans. When threatened, their yellow skin develops bright blue rings as a warning. Their venom contains tetrodotoxin, the same poison found in pufferfish. This toxin paralyzes muscles, including those needed for breathing. There is no antidote. Despite their danger, blue-ringed octopuses are shy and usually only bite if handled or stepped on. They hunt small crabs and shrimp in shallow tide pools and coral reefs around Australia and the Indo-Pacific. Like other octopuses, they can change colour and texture to blend into their environment. Blue-ringed octopuses have excellent eyesight and are intelligent enough to recognise individual humans. Females die after their eggs hatch, having devoted their final weeks to protecting and caring for them without eating. Fact 72. Sloths only defecate once a week, and when they do, they lose up to 30% of their body weight. This weekly bathroom trip is dangerous because sloths must climb down from their trees to the forest floor where predators can reach them. Scientists are unsure why sloths take this risk instead of simply going from the trees. One theory suggests that by pooping at the tree's base, sloths fertilize their favorite trees. Another idea involves moths that live in sloth fur. These moths lay eggs in sloth feces, and when new moths emerge, they fly up to join the sloth colony in the trees. These moths bring nutrients that help algae grow in sloth fur, which the sloth can then eat. Sloths have specialized stomach chambers filled with bacteria that slowly digest their leafy diet. Their digestion is so slow that food can take a month to pass through completely. Fact 73. Leaf-tailed geckos from Madagascar are masters of disguise. They have flat, leaf-shaped tails and skin patterns that perfectly mimic tree bark or dead leaves. Some species have small projections along their bodies that look like moss or lichen. When pressed against a tree trunk, they become nearly invisible. Leaf-tailed geckos even have specialized scales along their sides that eliminate shadows. During the day, they remain motionless with their eyes closed, looking exactly like part of the tree. At night, they hunt insects. Leaf-tailed geckos have large eyes with vertical pupils that open wide in darkness. Unlike many geckos, they have eyelids that close. When threatened, they open their mouths wide to reveal a bright orange or red interior, hoping to startle predators. Some species can also drop their tails as a distraction, though the tail does not grow back. Madagascar has several species of leaf-tailed geckos, each adapted to specific forest types. Fact 74. Army ants do not build permanent nests. Instead, hundreds of thousands of ants link their bodies together to form living structures called bivouacs. These temporary nests protect the queen and larvae in the centre, while worker ants form the walls and roof. At night or during rain, the bivouac tightens to keep everyone dry and safe. During the day, the colony marches in massive columns searching for food. Army ant raids can include over 1 million individuals moving together. They overwhelm any insects, spiders, or small animals in their path. Even large animals flee from army ant swarms. The ants use their powerful jaws to cut prey into pieces that workers carry back to the bivouac. Army ants are blind, navigating using chemical trails. When a column needs to cross a gap, ants form bridges with their bodies so others can walk across. These bridges can span several inches and adjust themselves as traffic patterns change. Fact 75. Goblin sharks look like creatures from nightmares with their long, flat snouts and protruding jaws. They live in deep ocean waters, usually between 600 and 4,000 feet deep. Goblin sharks are rarely seen, so scientists know little about their behaviour. Their most shocking feature is their jaw, which shoots forward to catch prey. The jaws extend outwards several inches in a fraction of a second, snapping up fish and squid. Their teeth are thin and needle-like, perfect for gripping slippery prey. Goblin sharks have soft, flabby bodies and pinkish-grey skin. Their unusual appearance has earned them the nickname living fossil, because they are the only surviving member of their family, which dates back 125 million years. They grow up to 12 feet long. Their long snouts contain sensors that detect electrical signals from other animals' muscles, helping them find food in total darkness. Fact 76. Saiga antelopes have strange, bulbous noses that hang down over their mouths like miniature trunks. These bizarre noses serve important purposes in their harsh environment. During summer, the enlarged nasal passages help filter out dust kicked up by the herd as they travel across dry steppes. In winter, the nose warms freezing air before it reaches their lungs, preventing damage from extreme cold. The nose is filled with complex chambers lined with mucous membranes, blood vessels, and special glands that humidify and condition the air. Saiga antelopes live in Central Asian grasslands, where temperatures can swing from over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in summer to -40 in winter. These dramatic temperature changes would damage the lungs of most animals, but the saiga's nose protects them. These animals can run at speeds of 50 miles per hour to escape predators like wolves. During migration, massive herds once numbered in the millions, creating dust clouds visible from space. Males develop ridged, translucent horns that were unfortunately prized in traditional medicine, leading to severe poaching that devastated populations. Female saigas give birth to twins most of the time, and newborns can run within just a few hours of being born, which is essential for survival on open plains where predators are abundant. The babies grow incredibly fast, gaining weight rapidly to prepare for harsh winters. Herds move constantly, following seasonal rainfall and fresh grass growth. Conservation efforts are working to protect remaining populations from extinction, but saigas still face threats from disease, harsh weather, and illegal hunting. Fact 77. Glass frogs have transparent skin on their bellies that allows you to see their internal organs, including their beating hearts, liver, intestines, and digestive system. Looking up at a glass frog sitting on a leaf, you can watch its heart pumping blood through vessels and see eggs developing inside females. You can even watch food moving through their digestive tracts. This transparency may help them avoid predators by making their outline less distinct against leaves, essentially providing camouflage by reducing their visual profile. Scientists are still studying exactly how this transparency works at the cellular level. Glass frogs live in rainforests of Central and South America, usually near mountain streams with fast-flowing water. Males are devoted fathers who guard eggs laid on leaves overhanging water. They sit on the eggs throughout the night to keep them moist and defend them from wasps, flies, and other insects that would eat them. Male glass frogs will even fight each other over prime egg-laying spots near waterfalls, where moisture levels stay high. When tadpoles hatch after about 2 weeks, they drop directly into the stream below where they continue developing. Glass frogs are small, usually less than 3 inches long, and bright lime green on their backs, which helps them blend with leaves. Some species have yellow or white spots arranged in patterns unique to each individual. They are nocturnal and spend days sleeping stuck to the undersides of leaves, pressed flat to minimize their shadow. At night, males call to attract mates using high-pitched whistles and chirps. Scientists have identified over 150 species of glass frogs, and researchers discover new species regularly in unexplored mountain streams. Each species has slightly different levels of transparency and different coloured bones visible through their skin. Fact 78. Shoebill storks stand over 4 feet tall and have enormous bills that look like wooden shoes or clogs, which is exactly how they got their name. These massive bills can measure over 9 inches long and 4 inches wide. The bills are powerful enough to decapitate large fish and even young crocodiles with a single snap. The edges are sharp and the hooked tip helps grip slippery prey. Shoebills hunt in African swamps and wetlands, standing perfectly still like statues for long periods, then striking with explosive speed when prey comes within range. They eat mainly lungfish, which are primitive fish that can breathe air and survive in stagnant water where other fish would die. Shoebills also consume tilapia, catfish, frogs, water snakes, monitor lizards, and young water birds. They can hold their position without moving a muscle for over half an hour, showing incredible patience and focus. Their excellent eyesight helps them spot prey moving underwater despite glare and reflections. When they finally strike, it happens so fast that high-speed cameras are needed to capture the motion properly. The entire attack lasts less than a second. These birds make loud machine gun-like sounds by clattering their bills together, which can be heard from over half a mile away. Despite their fierce appearance and hunting prowess, shoebills can be surprisingly friendly toward humans and have been known to bow to people who bow to them first, suggesting they understand reciprocal social gestures. They build large nests made of vegetation in dense papyrus swamps that provide protection from predators. Females usually lay 2 eggs, but typically only 1 chick survives because the stronger one monopolizes food brought by parents. Shoebills are slow breeders, taking several years to reach maturity and only raising 1 chick every year or 2. Their populations are declining due to habitat destruction as wetlands are drained for agriculture. Fact 79. Leafcutter ants are sophisticated farmers that cultivate fungus gardens deep underground in massive, complex colonies. A mature colony can contain 7 million ants and consist of over 1,000 chambers connected by an intricate network of tunnels that can extend 20 feet deep and cover an area the size of a tennis court. The fungus they grow exists nowhere else in nature because it has been domesticated by ants for over 50 million years, creating a relationship so intertwined that neither can survive without the other. Worker ants maintain very specific temperature and humidity levels in their fungus gardens, usually keeping them around 86 degrees Fahrenheit. They achieve this by opening or closing different tunnel entrances to control airflow, essentially creating a sophisticated ventilation system. If the fungus gets contaminated with harmful bacteria or competing fungi, specialized ants produce antibiotics from glands on their bodies to kill the invaders. Baby ants are coated with these protective bacteria from the moment they emerge, providing them with immunity. When a young queen leaves the colony during a mating flight to start a new colony, she carries a small piece of fungus in a special pocket in her mouth called an infrabuccal cavity. This tiny fungus garden starter is her most precious possession. After mating and finding a suitable spot, she digs a chamber and begins cultivating her fungus, using her own feces as initial fertilizer. Leafcutter colonies can last 15 years or more, with the queen living the entire time and producing millions of offspring. The colony has a complex social structure, with different-sized ants performing specific jobs. The largest soldiers defend the colony with massive heads and powerful jaws. Medium-sized workers cut and transport leaves. Small workers tend the fungus gardens. The tiniest ants ride on leaf fragments being carried by larger workers, protecting them from parasitic flies that try to lay eggs on the workers. The oldest ants, those near the end of their lives, become disposable workers who perform dangerous jobs like taking out garbage. This waste management system prevents diseases from spreading through the colony. Dead ants, exhausted leaf material, and contaminated fungus are carried to special dump chambers located far from the living areas, often at the edges of the colony's territory. Fact 80. Basilisk lizards can run across water without sinking, earning them the nickname Jesus Christ lizards from people who witness this miracle-like ability. When threatened by predators, basilisks rise up on their hind legs and sprint across rivers and ponds at incredible speeds. Their long toes have flaps of skin that unfurl and spread out, significantly increasing surface area. They run so quickly, taking up to 20 steps per second, that they create air pockets under their feet before the water has time to close in and drag them down. The lizards must maintain speeds of at least 5 feet per second to stay on top of the water's surface. They can cover distances of about 15 feet before their momentum fails and they break through the surface. This amazing ability helps them escape terrestrial predators like snakes and larger lizards in their Central and South American rainforest homes. Young basilisks are much better at water running than adults because they weigh significantly less, sometimes managing distances of 30 feet or more. Adult males can weigh up to 22 ounces and struggle to run as far, often only making it a few feet before sinking. Basilisks are excellent swimmers too, so if they do break through the surface, they simply continue swimming away and can hold their breath underwater for extended periods. These lizards are omnivores that eat insects, flowers, fruits, and small animals like fish, smaller lizards, and even small birds. Males have distinctive crests on their heads, backs, and tails that make them look like miniature dinosaurs. The crests serve multiple purposes, including temperature regulation and displaying to potential mates and rivals. Basilisks can grow up to 30 inches long, though most of that length is tail. They are active during the day and sleep in vegetation overhanging water at night, ready to drop and swim away if disturbed. Female basilisks lay eggs several times per year in warm soil, where the eggs incubate for about 3 months. The babies are independent from birth and must fend for themselves immediately. Fact 81. Thorny devils are small lizards covered completely in sharp, conical spikes that live in Australian deserts where temperatures can exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite their fierce, dragon-like appearance, they are gentle creatures that only eat ants, specifically consuming thousands of tiny black ants each day. They walk slowly through the desert, stopping at ant trails and using their sticky tongues to pick up ants one at a time. A single thorny devil can eat over 3,000 ants in one meal. They have a false head, actually a large spiky lump on the back of their neck. When threatened, thorny devils tuck their real head down between their front legs, presenting the dummy head to predators. This confuses attackers and protects the vulnerable real head. Their most remarkable adaptation is how they drink. Thorny devils do not lap water with their tongues like other lizards. Instead, they have microscopic grooves between their scales that draw water from any moisture source directly to their mouths through capillary action, the same force that allows water to climb up paper towels. They can drink through their feet by standing in damp sand or a puddle. Morning dew that collects on their spiky bodies automatically channels along the grooves to their mouth corners where they swallow it. This ingenious adaptation allows them to survive in extremely dry environments where standing water is rare. Thorny devils walk with a strange jerky rocking motion, constantly swaying back and forth. Scientists believe this movement may help them resemble vegetation blowing in the wind, providing additional camouflage. Females are noticeably larger than males, which is unusual among lizards. These reptiles can change colour from pale yellow to dark reddish-brown depending on temperature, becoming darker when cold to absorb more heat and lighter when hot to reflect sunlight. They live up to 20 years in the wild, which is quite long for such small lizards. Thorny devils lay eggs in underground chambers where the constant temperature and humidity create perfect incubation conditions. The eggs hatch after about 4 months, and baby thorny devils look like miniature, slightly less spiky versions of adults. Fact 82. Mud skippers are extraordinary fish that spend most of their time out of water, having adapted remarkably to life in mangrove swamps and mudflats along tropical coasts. They have evolved to breathe air and can survive on land for hours or even days as long as they stay moist. Mud skippers walk, hop, and even climb using their muscular pectoral fins like legs, while their pelvic fins help provide stability. They can breathe through their skin and the lining of their mouth and throat, as long as these surfaces remain wet. Mud skippers carry water in their enlarged gill chambers, similar to how humans hold breath underwater, except reversed for a fish. When their gills start drying out, mud skippers return to water briefly to refresh their oxygen supply. During low tide, mud skippers emerge onto the exposed mud to hunt and compete for territory. Males build elaborate mud towers, sometimes over a foot tall, using their mouths to carry mud pellets and cement them together. These towers serve as advertisements to females and territorial markers to other males. Males defend their territories aggressively, performing acrobatic displays where they jump, flip, and chase rivals. When females approach, males perform courtship displays involving quick sidelong hops and fin spreading. Mudskippers have exceptional eyesight adapted for seeing both above and below water. Their bulging eyes sit on top of their heads and can move independently, giving them nearly 360-degree vision to watch for both aerial and terrestrial predators. They retract their eyes into moistened sockets occasionally to keep them from drying. Mudskippers hunt insects, small crabs, worms, and other mudskippers. Their diets vary depending on what prey is available during different tides. These fish can survive in water with oxygen levels so low that most fish would suffocate within minutes. Some species dig deep burrows in mud where they retreat during high tide or extreme heat. Inside these burrows, mudskippers create air pockets where they rest. Males sometimes entice females into their burrows for spawning. The eggs are laid underwater and attached to the burrow walls. Males guard and tend the eggs until they hatch. Fact 83. Mantis shrimp have existed relatively unchanged for over 400 million years, long before dinosaurs walked the earth. Besides their incredible punching power that can break aquarium glass and their unmatched visual system with 16 colour receptors, they also demonstrate surprising intelligence for crustaceans. Mantis shrimp can recognise individuals, distinguishing between different mantis shrimp and even between different humans who care for them in aquariums. They have excellent long-term memories and can remember the location of their burrow even after being removed, transported and released elsewhere. Some species form monogamous partnerships and share their burrows with a mate for years, cooperating to maintain and defend their home. They communicate through several methods, including making rumbling sounds by vibrating specialized structures, displaying their brilliant colors which can change intensity, and using their antennae to sense chemical signals. Mantis shrimp come in two main varieties based on their hunting appendages and techniques. Smashers have club-like appendages designed for breaking through hard shells of prey like crabs, snails, and clams. Spearers have sharp, pointed appendages for impaling soft-bodied prey like fish and squid. Both hunting styles are incredibly effective and have evolved to match the prey available in their specific habitats. Mantis shrimp are fastidious housekeepers, regularly cleaning their burrows by removing debris, dead material, and waste. They even decorate their burrow entrances with shells and rocks. These creatures can live up to 20 years in captivity with proper care, though their lifespan in the wild is less well documented. Scientists continue studying mantis shrimp to better understand their unique visual system. Their ability to see colours invisible to humans has inspired new types of cameras and sensors. The structure of their clubs has influenced designs for impact-resistant materials used in military armour and sports equipment. Fact 84. Coconut crabs are the largest terrestrial arthropods in the world, essentially the biggest animals without backbones that live on land. They can weigh up to 9 pounds with leg spans reaching 3 feet from tip to tip. These enormous crabs live on tropical islands scattered across the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Despite their name suggesting a specialized diet, coconuts actually make up only a portion of what they eat. Coconut crabs are opportunistic omnivores that consume fruits, nuts, seeds, leaves, flowers, carrion, and even other crabs. They have incredibly strong claws capable of exerting pressure similar to a lion's bite, measured at over 700 pounds per square inch. They use these powerful claws to crack open coconuts by first tearing away the fibrous husk, then breaking through the hard shell. Some coconut crabs climb palm trees to access coconuts still attached, either cutting them down or waiting for them to fall. Despite starting their lives in the ocean like other hermit crabs, adult coconut crabs have adapted completely to terrestrial life. They possess modified gills that function more like lungs, allowing them to extract oxygen from air. These crabs actually cannot swim and will drown if submerged for more than an hour. Young coconut crabs use discarded seashells for protection, like typical hermit crabs, but as they grow and their exoskeletons harden, they eventually outgrow the need for borrowed shells. Adults develop tough, calcified exoskeletons that provide excellent protection. They dig extensive burrows or hide in rock crevices and hollow logs during the day, emerging at night to forage. Their burrows can be several feet deep and provide protection from daytime heat. Coconut crabs have an extraordinary sense of smell, using their antennae to detect food sources from remarkable distances, sometimes following scent trails for over a mile. They are attracted to a wide variety of smells including rotting fruit, carrion, and even human food scraps. Their reputation as thieves comes from their habit of stealing anything shiny or interesting they find, including silverware, pots, and tools from coastal homes. Coconut crabs may live for over 60 years, growing slowly throughout their lives and continuing to molt even as adults. Fact 85. Horned lizards, sometimes called horny toads despite being reptiles, have developed one of nature's most bizarre defense mechanisms. They can squirt blood from their eyes when threatened. When grabbed by predators like coyotes, foxes, or bobcats, these small desert lizards can increase blood pressure in their heads until tiny blood vessels around their eyes rupture, shooting a stream of blood up to 5 feet away. This blood tastes extraordinarily foul to predators because horned lizards eat primarily harvester ants, including species that contain bitter-tasting defensive chemicals. These chemical compounds concentrate in the lizard's blood. Most canine predators immediately release the lizard and paw at their mouths after tasting this blood. Horned lizards can squirt blood multiple times in succession if needed. Beyond this gross-out defense, horned lizards are covered with sharp spikes protruding from their heads and bodies that make them extremely difficult and painful to swallow. They can also inflate their bodies with air to appear much larger and to make themselves even harder for predators to consume. Their flat bodies and earth-toned colouring, ranging from tan to reddish-brown with darker blotches, provide excellent camouflage against rocky desert terrain. When threatened, their first response is usually to freeze and rely on camouflage. They can remain motionless for extended periods, practically invisible when pressed flat against the ground. Horned lizards are ovoviviparous, meaning females give birth to live young rather than laying eggs. This adaptation helps in desert environments where buried eggs might overheat. Females can produce up to 30 babies at once, though 10 to 20 is more typical. The babies are born fully formed and independent, ready to hunt ants immediately. These lizards hibernate during winter in underground burrows and can survive being partially frozen. Despite their multiple impressive defenses, horned lizard populations have declined dramatically in recent decades due to habitat loss, pet trade collection, and declining ant populations caused by insecticides. Some species are now protected by law in several states. Fact 86. Peacock spiders are tiny Australian jumping spiders, with most species measuring smaller than a grain of rice, yet they perform some of nature's most spectacular and elaborate courtship displays. Males possess brightly coloured iridescent flaps on their abdomens that they can raise and lower like peacock tail feathers. When courting, males raise these colourful flaps while performing intricate dances that involve lifting and waving their legs in specific patterns, vibrating their abdomens, and moving in coordinated sequences. Each of the 90-plus species has unique dance moves, colour patterns, and choreographed routines. These performances look comedic and charming to human observers who have watched countless videos online, but they represent serious survival business for the spiders. Females watch these displays very closely and critically. If a male's performance fails to impress, if his colours seem dull, his timing seems off, or his dance lacks enthusiasm, the female may attack and eat him instead of mating. This creates intense selective pressure for males to develop better colours and more engaging performances. Peacock spiders possess some of the most sophisticated colour vision of any animal, with receptor types for colours that humans cannot perceive. Their brilliant colours do not come from pigments like paint, but from microscopic three-dimensional structures that reflect and refract light in specific ways, similar to how opals create rainbow colours. These structural colours can appear different from different viewing angles. Scientists continue discovering new peacock spider species regularly, particularly in protected bushland and remote areas of Australia. Each new species adds to our understanding of how these displays evolved. Peacock spiders do not build webs to catch prey. Instead, they are active hunters with excellent vision thanks to their large, forward-facing primary eyes. They stalk and pounce on prey much larger than themselves, including other spiders. Despite belonging to the spider family, peacock spiders seem almost friendly, showing curiosity toward humans and rarely biting even when handled. Males will even perform their courtship dances for researchers, cameras, or even their own reflections. Fact 87. Wolverines are the largest members of the weasel family, weighing only about 40 pounds on average, yet they are fierce and fearless enough to drive grizzly bears, black bears, and mountain lions away from their kills through pure aggression and tenacity. Wolverines have stocky, muscular builds with powerful jaws capable of crushing frozen meat and cracking bones that other predators cannot access. Their skull structure and jaw muscles generate tremendous bite force relative to their size. Wolverines have thick, oily, frost-resistant fur that makes their pelts highly prized by Arctic peoples for parka hoods and trim, because the fur does not collect condensation from breath in extreme cold. These solitary, elusive animals roam absolutely enormous territories, sometimes covering distances of 15 miles or more in a single day through some of the harshest terrain on Earth. Male territories can encompass over 240 square miles. They live in remote northern boreal forests and tundra across North America, Scandinavia, and Siberia. Wolverines cache food by burying it in snow, wedging it under rocks, or hiding it in crevices, creating scattered storage sites throughout their territories. Their scientific name, gulo-gulo, means glutton-glutton because they eat voraciously whenever food is available, gorging themselves to build substantial fat reserves that see them through periods when hunting is poor. Female wolverines dig complex dens in deep snow, often in areas with permanent snowfields, where they give birth during February and March when conditions are most brutal. These snow dens provide excellent insulation for newborn kits. The babies stay with their mothers for about a year, learning essential hunting skills and exploring their future territories. Wolverines can take down prey much larger than themselves, including caribou and moose weakened by deep snow or injury. They are also proficient scavengers with powerful noses that can detect carrion buried under 20 feet of snow. Wolverines have large, snowshoe-like paws that help them travel across deep snow without sinking, while pursuing prey or fleeing from threats. Despite their fearsome reputation, wolverine populations are vulnerable. They require vast wilderness areas and are sensitive to human disturbance, climate change, and habitat fragmentation. Some conservation groups work to protect critical wolverine habitat and establish wildlife corridors. Fact 88. Suriname toads have developed one of the most unusual and somewhat disturbing reproductive methods in the entire animal kingdom. During mating, which occurs in water, the male fertilizes eggs as the female releases them. The male then presses each egg onto the female's back using his belly. Over the course of several hours, he presses dozens of eggs into her skin. Her back swells up around each individual egg, and the skin grows over them completely, forming individual pockets or chambers that look like honeycomb cells covering her entire back. The eggs develop inside these skin pockets for approximately 3 to 4 months. Throughout this time, the female carries her developing offspring with her everywhere. When the baby toads are fully developed and ready to emerge, they begin pushing through the skin. Dozens of tiny, fully formed toadlets pop out from their mother's back over the course of several days. Watching this emergence disturbs many people, because it triggers reactions related to trypophobia, the discomfort some people feel when seeing clusters of holes. However, this reproductive strategy effectively protects developing young from predators during their most vulnerable stages. Suriname toads are completely aquatic and live in slow-moving rivers, streams and ponds in South American rainforests, particularly in the Amazon and Orinoco river basins. They are flat and brownish-grey, looking remarkably like dead leaves resting on the stream bottom. This camouflage helps them ambush prey and avoid predators. Suriname toads lack tongues entirely and cannot stick anything out to catch prey like most frogs and toads. Instead, they use their long, sensitive fingers to detect prey in murky water, then shove food into their mouths using rapid hand movements. Their fingers are star-shaped with sensitive tips that can detect even tiny vibrations from potential meals. These toads produce clicking and rattling sounds underwater to communicate with each other, especially during breeding season. After the babies emerge, the female's back eventually heals, though it remains scarred. She can breed again and produce new batches of embedded eggs. Fact 89. Emperor tamarin monkeys have magnificent flowing white moustaches that droop down past their chins on both sides, giving them a distinguished appearance that would make any Victorian gentleman jealous. These long, elegant facial whiskers can grow several inches long and contrast beautifully with their mostly grey and black fur. Scientists remain somewhat uncertain about why these small primates evolved such dramatic facial hair. but leading theories suggest it helps individuals recognize each other in dense forest canopy environments, serves as a display of health and genetic fitness to potential mates, or might even help direct scent signals since tamarins communicate partly through smell. Emperor tamarins live in family groups of 4 to 20 individuals in the upper canopy levels of Amazon rainforest, rarely descending to the ground where predators pose greater threats. They're quite small primates, measuring only about 10 inches long for their bodies, not counting their tails, which add another 15 inches. Adults weigh around 1 pound, making them light enough to run along thin branches. These monkeys are omnivorous, eating primarily fruits, flowers, nectar, tree sap, insects, spiders, small frogs, and lizards. They use their sharp claws to cling to tree bark and dig insects from crevices. Emperor tamarins form extremely close social bonds within their groups. The entire group participates in raising babies, carrying them and bringing food to nursing mothers. Cooperative breeding is essential because mothers usually give birth to twins, and caring for 2 infants requires help from other group members. Multiple females in a group may give birth around the same time, and all the adults help care for all the infants. They communicate using a variety of whistles, trills, squeaks, and chirping sounds that carry through the forest canopy. Different calls indicate different threats, food discoveries, and social interactions. Emperor tamarins defend territories vigorously by chasing out intruders from neighbouring groups. They mark territory boundaries using scent glands located on their chests and near their tails. Despite their tiny size, emperor tamarins are fearless and will mob potential predators like snakes and birds of prey, calling loudly to alert group members and confuse the threat. They sometimes form mixed species groups with saddleback tamarins, benefiting from increased vigilance and protection. Fact 90. Aye-ayes are possibly the strangest looking primates on Earth, and have the unfortunate distinction of being considered bad omens by some local cultures. These lemurs, found only on the island of Madagascar, have huge, luminous yellow-orange eyes that help them see in darkness, enormous bat-like ears that swivel independently to detect sounds, and most notably an extraordinarily long skeletal middle finger that seems almost alien. This specialized finger serves as their primary hunting tool. Aye-ayes hunt at night using a unique method called percussive foraging. They tap their middle finger rapidly on tree bark, up to 8 times per second, while listening intently with their massive ears. The tapping creates sound waves that travel through the wood, and aye-ayes can hear differences in the echoes that indicate hollow spaces where insect larvae are hiding. After pinpointing prey location, aye-ayes gnaw through even the hardest wood using their continually growing, rodent-like front incisors which can chew through wood that defeats most other animals. Once they create an opening, they insert their incredibly thin middle finger, which has a ball and socket joint allowing rotation in all directions, and extract grubs using a hooked claw at the tip. This hunting method allows aye-ayes to access food sources unavailable to competitors. Besides insects, they eat seeds, fruits, nectar, and fungi, particularly attracted to coconuts which they can open by chewing and extracting the flesh with their finger. Their teeth are so strong they can gnaw through coconut shells. Aye-ayes spend most nights actively searching for food, covering large distances through the forest canopy. Local Malagasy people traditionally feared aye-ayes deeply, believing they brought death to anyone they pointed their strange finger toward. This superstition led to aye-ayes being killed on sight for centuries, contributing to population declines. Conservation efforts have worked hard to change these beliefs and protect remaining aye-ayes through education. Aye-ayes are completely solitary, except when mating. Males and females only come together briefly before separating again. Females raise babies alone for well over a year. They build large spherical nests made of leaves and branches in tree forks where they sleep during the day, sometimes maintaining multiple nests throughout their territory. Fact 91. Geoducks are enormous clams that can live for over 160 years, making them among the longest-lived animals on Earth and certainly the longest-lived clams known to science. These remarkable bivalves have very long siphons that can extend over 3 feet from their shells, making them look quite unusual and somewhat comical. The siphon is essentially a tube that the clam uses to filter feed, drawing in water containing plankton and oxygen while expelling waste. Geoducks burrow deep into sand or mud in coastal waters of the Pacific Northwest, primarily off the coasts of Washington, British Columbia, and Alaska. Once a geoduck establishes itself in a location, it rarely moves for its entire life, sometimes remaining in the exact same spot for over a century. The name geoduck comes from a Lushootseed Native American word meaning dig deep, referring to how far down they burrow, sometimes 3 feet or more beneath the surface. These clams filter feed on microscopic phytoplankton and other organic particles drawn in through their siphons. Geoducks grow very slowly, taking many years to reach reproductive maturity, but can eventually weigh over 3 pounds with shells measuring 8 inches across. They are considered a delicacy in Asian cuisine, particularly in Chinese and Japanese cooking, and command extremely high prices in seafood markets, sometimes selling for over $150 per pound. Their unusual appearance has also made them somewhat infamous in popular culture. Geoduck shells have growth rings very similar to tree rings, allowing scientists to determine their age precisely by counting these rings under microscopes. The oldest verified geoduck was 168 years old when discovered. These ancient clams have lived through world wars, technological revolutions, and dramatic environmental changes. Geoducks have relatively few natural predators once they are established, because they burrow too deep for most animals to reach them. Sea otters occasionally dig them up using their paws and rocks, and some species of sharks can create suction powerful enough to pull geoducks from their burrows. Starfish sometimes attack juvenile geoducks before they burrow deeply. Climate change and ocean acidification may threaten geoduck populations by affecting their ability to build and maintain their calcium carbonate shells. Warmer, more acidic water makes shell building more difficult for all mollusks. Fact 92. Ribbon eels change sex during their lives. They begin life as males with black colouring and blue fins. As they age and grow, ribbon eels transition to female, turning bright yellow. This process is called sequential hermaphroditism. Ribbon eels live in coral reefs across the Indian and Pacific Oceans. They have long, thin bodies perfectly adapted for hiding in crevices. Only their heads typically protrude from holes in the reef. Ribbon eels have elaborate nasal appendages that look like tiny ribbons, constantly moving to sense water currents. Despite looking like snakes, they are actually fish. Ribbon eels hunt small fish and shrimp, striking quickly from their hiding spots. They have poor eyesight and hunt mainly by smell. Male ribbon eels are territorial and aggressive toward other males. After transitioning to female, they become less aggressive. Very little is known about ribbon eel reproduction, because it has never been observed in the wild or captivity. They are difficult to keep in aquariums because they often refuse to eat and try to escape through any opening. Fact 93. Potus are masters of camouflage that look exactly like broken tree branches. These nocturnal birds from Central and South America have mottled brown and grey feathers with patterns that perfectly mimic bark and lichen. During the day, potus perch vertically on stumps or branches, with their eyes closed to narrow slits, remaining completely motionless. Even their beaks blend in. Predators and prey walk right past without noticing them. At night, potus become active hunters. They have enormous mouths that open incredibly wide, surrounded by sensitive bristles that help them catch flying insects in darkness. Their eyes reflect light brightly, allowing them to see well at night. Potus make haunting, mournful calls that vary by species, but always sound eerie. Some people believe these calls are omens or spirits. Potus lay a single egg on a tree stump with no nest material. Both parents take turns incubating. The chick is also camouflaged from birth. Potus remain in the same territory for years, using the same perches repeatedly. Fact 94. Hagfish can absorb nutrients directly through their skin, which is unique among vertebrates. They feed mainly on dead and dying animals that sink to the ocean floor. Hagfish burrow into carcasses and eat them from the inside out. They can survive for months without eating by lowering their metabolism. Hagfish have a skull, but no vertebral column, making them intermediate between invertebrates and vertebrates. They're often called living fossils because their body plan has changed little in 300 million years. Hagfish slime is extraordinary material. When threatened, a single hagfish can turn a large bucket of water into thick goop within seconds. The slime consists of mucus threads that expand over 10,000 times their original size when exposed to seawater. Scientists have studied this slime as a potential inspiration for bulletproof materials, firefighting foam, and biodegradable fabrics. Hagfish regularly tie themselves in knots to escape their own slime, or to gain leverage while feeding. They can also absorb their slime back into their bodies. Fact 95. Pistol shrimp live in symbiotic relationships with goby fish. The nearly blind shrimp digs and maintains a burrow that both animals share. The goby stands guard at the entrance, watching for predators with its excellent eyesight. The shrimp stays in constant contact with the goby using its antennae. When danger approaches, the goby signals by flicking its tail, and both animals retreat into the burrow. Without the goby, the shrimp is vulnerable. Without the shrimp, the goby has no home. This partnership benefits both creatures. The shrimp can hunt for food by partially leaving the burrow while the goby keeps watch. They communicate through a combination of touch, signals, and body language. If separated, shrimp actively search for goby partners. Some species of gobies will only partner with specific shrimp species. The bond can last for years. Both animals sleep together in the burrow at night. Young gobies learn which shrimp species make good partners by observing adults. This relationship has evolved over millions of years into a nearly perfect example of mutualism. Fact 96. Christmas Island red crabs undertake one of the most spectacular migrations on Earth. Every year, up to 50 million crabs emerge from forests across the island and march to the ocean to breed. The migration usually happens at the start of the wet season when conditions are right. Roads become covered with red carpets of crabs moving together. The Australian government closes roads and builds special crab bridges and tunnels to help them cross safely. Male crabs arrive at the ocean first and dig burrows where mating will occur. Females arrive later, and after mating, males return to the forest. Females stay for 2 weeks while their eggs develop, then release them into the ocean at high tide. Baby crabs develop in the ocean for a month before returning to land as tiny versions of adults. They then make the journey back through the forests. Not all crabs survive the migration. Birds and other predators feast during this time, and many crabs get crushed by vehicles or fall into crevices. Despite losses, enough survive to maintain the massive population. Fact 97. Turritopsis dorni jellyfish are biologically immortal. When injured, sick, or old, these jellyfish can transform back into their juvenile polyp stage and start their life cycle over again. They essentially age in reverse, becoming young again. This process can theoretically repeat indefinitely, making them potentially immortal. The jellyfish transforms by reabsorbing its tentacles and shrinking into a blob that settles on the seafloor. This blob then develops into a polyp colony, which eventually produces new jellyfish through budding. Scientists study these jellyfish hoping to understand cellular regeneration and aging. However, most Turritopsis jellyfish do not live forever because they get eaten by predators or succumb to disease before they can transform. These jellyfish are tiny, only about 4 millimeters wide. They eat plankton, fish eggs, and small mollusks. Turritopsis jellyfish have spread throughout the world's oceans, possibly because they can survive in ballast water of ships. Their immortality discovery happened accidentally when a student forgot about jellyfish in a tank and later found them regenerated into polyps. Fact 98. Blobfish look dramatically different in their natural habitat compared to the famous photos that make them look sad and droopy. In the deep ocean where they live, blobfish experience extreme pressure that keeps their gelatinous bodies firm. They live at depths between 2,000 and 4,000 feet off the coasts of Australia. New Zealand, blobfish have few muscles because in their high-pressure environment they do not need them. They simply float above the seafloor waiting for food to drift by. Their bodies are slightly less dense than water, allowing them to hover effortlessly. When brought to the surface, the dramatic pressure change causes their bodies to expand and droop, creating the sad appearance in photographs. This decompression essentially destroys their bodies. In their natural environment, blobfish look like normal, somewhat grumpy-looking fish. They eat crustaceans, mollusks, and sea urchins. Little else is known about blobfish behaviour because studying them in their natural deep-sea habitat is extremely difficult. They are threatened by deep-sea trawling nets that scrape the ocean floor. Fact 99. Honey badgers have earned a reputation as the most fearless animals on Earth. They attack animals much larger than themselves, including lions, buffalo, and even crocodiles. Honey badgers have extremely loose, thick skin that allows them to twist around and bite attackers even when being held. Their skin is so tough that it resists bee stings, porcupine quills, and even arrows. Honey badgers are immune to many venoms, including cobra venom. They hunt venomous snakes regularly, getting bitten multiple times but showing little effect. If venom does slow them down, honey badgers simply sleep it off for a few hours, then wake up and continue eating the snake that bit them. These animals are incredibly strong for their size, capable of breaking into beehives and tearing apart termite mounds. Honey badgers get their name from their love of honey and bee larvae. They follow honey-guide birds to beehives. Honey badgers are also clever problem solvers who can escape enclosures and open latches. They use tools like rocks and sticks to help them climb or dig. Fact 100. Lyrebirds can copy almost any sound perfectly, including chainsaws, car alarms, camera shutters, and human speech. One particular lyrebird named Echo learned to mimic the sounds of construction happening near her enclosure, including drills, hammers, and workers shouting instructions. Researchers have documented lyrebirds imitating chainsaw sounds decades after logging occurred in their territory, suggesting they can remember and pass down sounds across generations. Male lyrebirds incorporate all these sounds into elaborate songs performed during courtship displays. They sing for hours at a time, combining natural bird calls, mimicked sounds, and their own unique melodies. The vocal versatility of lyrebirds is unmatched in the bird world. They have the most complex syrinx, the bird equivalent of a larynx, with multiple sound-producing elements that can work independently. This allows them to produce multiple sounds simultaneously. Lyrebirds also dance while singing, showing off their magnificent tail feathers shaped like Greek lyres. Females select mates based on the quality of their song and dance. Performance. The habitat of lyrebirds in Australian forests makes them difficult to study, so new discoveries about their abilities continue to surprise scientists.